Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is Rachel Dolezal, and no, you don't need to check a calendar. It is not 2015. Rachel, if you don't remember, and it also depends on your opinion, is the white woman who disguised herself as a black woman, or the white woman that identifies and believes that she is a black woman, who was the president of the Spokane, Washington chapter of the NAACP. There was this big media frenzy. Her parents were both white, saying, no, our daughter is Caucasian. Rachel, of course, famously said on the Today Show,
I identify as black.
But also a lawsuit the same year with Howard University, she said, I consider myself to be Caucasian biologically, which then caused this conversation in America, which was essentially, is there such a thing as being transracial, or is this the most ridiculous bullshit you've ever seen? Well, there is now a documentary coming out around Rachel Dolezal. It premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival. It will be on Netflix April 27th, but oh my god, the trailer is one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever watched. It's essentially 2 minutes of her son pleading with her that this is a very bad idea, that her actions didn't just hurt her, it hurt him and many other people.
I really do not want to focus on this for the rest of my life. Why didn't you just let it go away? Why did the documentary have to happen then, Mom? Why couldn't you just done the book?
It's called Rebuilding.
This is gonna affect more than just your life. Trust me, it is going to bite me in the ass. I resent some of her choices, and I resent some of the words she's spoken in interviews. And it affected me, it affected my brother. The more that I hear about it, the more that I talk to people about it, the more it just drains me.
I mean, literally, I think the only good that can come from this documentary is that it gives her son separation from her. It is unfortunate, but we constantly see the child paying for the sins of the parent. Also, on the note of why is Rachel doing this, some people were saying for money. Netflix chimed in saying, to clarify one thing, like all subjects for our documentaries, Rachel Dolezal did not receive any payment for this project. We worked with filmmakers Laura Brownson and Roger Ross Williams, who wanted to explore Dolezal's life as a microcosm for a larger conversation about race and identity. The film is focused not just on her life, but on the larger conversation, including people who see her actions as the ultimate expression of white privilege. But ultimately, we're gonna have to wait and see for the release. I mean, I know that I'm gonna watch this, but redemption documentaries do not always go the way you think they're gonna go. I mean, Wiener is a fantastic example. If you haven't watched that one, highly recommended. It's a special kind of shit show. Then we had former Vine star Brittany Ferlin and Tommy Lee in the news. This week, reportedly, Brittany Ferlin had to call 911 to report that her fiance, Tommy Lee, was knocked unconscious by his 21-year-old son, Brandon. And in the past day, the 911 call was released.
My stepson and my fiance got into a fight, and he pushed his father, and then he asked his son to leave, and he wouldn't leave, and he punched him.
And any weapons?
My stepson has guns in his room, and that's why I'm freaked out. I just locked the door.
Also, as far as what happened, Ferlin says this to 911.
He didn't hit his son. His son pushed him, and then he asked Steve and was like, here's the door, and put his arm on his son's shoulder, and his son punched him in the face, and he literally, knocked him out. Like cold. He's bleeding.
Near the end of the call, they want to cancel the ambulance, but...
Can you just cancel it? He doesn't want you here. He just woke up, and now he's okay.
Okay, but he still got knocked out, though, with a face injury.
That's okay. He doesn't want it.
Reportedly, after all of this, there were police sources that confirmed that the fight was over social media posts, and also said that Tommy was going to press charges against his son. And as far as what that social media post was, it looks like it was actually a tweet. Lee had tweeted at Piers Morgan saying, your interviews with Donald Trump and my ex-wife are pathetic. Think she'd find something new to discuss instead of rehashing old shit, but I guess she has nothing else going on and needs attention. Signed, quote, the abuser, who she texts every day and asks for me back. And as far as why he labeled himself, quote, the abuser, in 1998, Tommy Lee was arrested and ended up pleading no contest to charges of spousal battery. His then wife, Pamela Anderson, alleged that Lee assaulted her while she was holding one of their sons. And online, it appears that there's this confusion around no contest being the same as not guilty. It's not. To oversimplify, it's you essentially saying, I'm not saying I'm guilty, but there are facts in this case that I think will result in me getting a guilty verdict. And in this specific instance, Lee was sentenced to 6 months in jail. I think he ended up serving around 4. He was also required to pay $6,200 to a battered women's shelter, a victim restitution program, and a domestic violence fund. Anyway, the next thing we see is that on Tuesday, Tommy Lee posts this close-up picture of his face with a fat lip on Instagram with the caption, my heart is broken. You can give your kids everything they could ever want in their entire lives and they can still turn against you. Good job, Brandon. Great son. He ended up deleting that post. Then on Twitter, he continued with his version of events, saying, hey, at TMZ, maybe get your facts straight before you go reporting bullshit. My fiance and I were in bed when my son busted into the room and assaulted me. I asked him to leave the house and he knocked me unconscious. He ran away from the police. That's the truth. Meanwhile, his son gave a statement to People magazine saying, I'm devastated at the events of the last several days that have been a result of my father's alcoholism. I've worked tirelessly tirelessly organizing an intervention, and it's incredibly upsetting that it never came to fruition. I wanted my dad's hopeful sobriety and recovery to be a private family matter, but as a result of his accusations on social media, I feel forced to speak out. I have and will continue to cooperate with law enforcement as needed. I love my father and just want to see him sober, happy, and healthy. And the statement also confirms that the social media post did start this whole situation. Tommy Lee then responded on Twitter, laughing my ass off. I'm happier than I've been in my entire life. I have a few drinks here and there because I'm fucking retired and enjoying my life. I work 30 plus fucking years. I deserve it. You didn't arrange any intervention. You barely spoke to me while you were here, just covering your ass. As far as Ferlin, her only public comments thus far have been vague tweets. Violence is never the answer. So few people these days with pure hearts and morals. Then it looked like Tommy Lee was gonna quit social media when he tweeted, "See you later, social media can't read any more lies." But then, early this morning, he tweeted, "I love women, but who do I gotta talk to about a happy, entitled, spoiled brat day?" And actually, the final update to this story is that Pamela Anderson has now made an official statement, saying, "I have complete faith in Brandon and his team to resolve this unfortunate and sad situation regarding his father. I pray Tommy gets the help he needs. His actions are desperate and humiliating. He is a disaster spinning out of control, and he is not acting like a father, but this is nothing new. My sons have made every attempt to help him in recent months." Adding, "I stand beside my son who acted out of self-defense and was scared for his life. Nobody understands the lifetime of disappointment this man has brought our family. Consistently the center of sadness, drama, and confusion. Jealous of his son's talent and beauty from the day they were born. He is sick, the definition of narcissist/sociopath. His fiance keeps him drunk. This is what he wants, someone to behave badly with. It's terrible, and unfortunately he has made this private matter very public. I have always tried only to set records straight, trying to paint him as not a bad guy, just one who is human and made mistakes." Also backing up the claim that Brandon was setting up an intervention, along with friends and people Tommy works with and admired. Closing with, "Tommy feels humiliated and is attempting to destroy his own son. This is the devil. This is the disease of alcoholism." And that was just pieces of the full statement, which if you want to read, I'll link to it down below. Now, as far as the actual assault, there is a lot of he said, she said. I'll be very interested to see what happens with law enforcement. But, and this is just my personal feelings, I end up leaning more on the side of Brandon. Right? Like your father who had to serve time due to charges around hitting your mother, mocking your mom online, even calling himself quote unquote the abuser, insinuating that he was lying about a thing that he actually pled no contest to. Then to me, at least, Tommy Lee not seeming like a father handling a situation, but a man-child handling the situation, constantly mocking his son online, trying to get sympathy from his fans over a busted lip. And as far as the angle of Tommy Lee having an addiction problem, I mean, I don't know because I'm not in that situation, but you look at a lot of pictures of him and it doesn't seem like the craziest accusation. And I feel like just in general, Tommy Lee should probably try to handle the rest of this situation in private. Otherwise, people are gonna just start saying things like maybe he's just angry because this is what happens when there's a guy in the fight instead of a woman. Not me. I would never say that, but you know, people. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome brought to you by ShopDeFranco.com. ShopDeFranco, of course, where you can buy all our badass gear, whether it be our new badass bestsellers, like the Why Be Informed, where you can use your feelings as your facts shirt and or hoodie, the Stay Humble Hustle Hard gear, our pretentious box tee, and or best-selling classics like our sports tee. And so if you want to snag one of those while you can, go to ShopDeFranco.com. And the first bit of awesome we had was Charlize Theron on Hot Ones. We also had Charlize Theron and David Oyelowo answering the web's most searched questions. We got the season 2 trailer for Santa Clarita Diet. Also, if you haven't watched the first season, I recommend it. It's pretty good. We also got a new trailer for Game Over Man, as well as The House of Tomorrow. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then let's talk about Russian spies and international assassination attempts. And the reason we're talking about that is former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were found unconscious on a park bench in Britain on Sunday. The two were critically ill. They were brought to a hospital. They are still in critical condition at this moment. And the 3 police officers that responded to this incident were also treated at the hospital. 2 were treated for minor symptoms. A 3rd was placed in intensive care, but has since been upgraded to stable condition. And actually, an update that we got this morning is that from this, 21 people, including the people that we previously talked about, had to be treated. And UK police now believe the former spy and his daughter were deliberately attacked and poisoned by a nerve agent. And nerve agents in general are highly toxic chemicals that work within seconds or minutes to prevent the nervous system from working properly. Death typically occurs by asphyxiation or cardiac arrest. The police are currently treating this case as attempted murder. The use of a nerve agent makes it more likely that the attack was carried out by the Russian government, specifically because the resources and expertise required to produce and use a nerve agent suggest military or intelligence agency involvement. But Russia has denied any involvement. A statement from the Russian embassy in London say, "Media reports create an impression of a planned operation by the Russian special services, which is completely untrue." But also on that note, and it's not evidence of anything, it just seems like too much of an odd coincidence. Yesterday, when Putin was talking about US-Russia relations, he said, "We are a great power and no one likes competition," later adding, "Those who serve us with poison will eventually swallow it and poison themselves." Which is an interesting thing to say. At the same time, there are headlines that literally read, Russia double agent poisoned with nerve agent. I'm just saying, it's interesting wording. Now, as far as why he was considered a double agent, we have to talk about who Sergei Skripal was. Sergei is a retired Russian military intelligence officer who in 2006 was convicted of giving identities of undercover Russian intelligence agents to the UK. Sergei was sentenced to 13 years for his crimes, but in 2010 was released by Russia with 3 other prisoners in exchange with the FBI for 10 Russian spies. And more recently, Sergei had begun working as a lecturer at military academies. And in those lectures, he reportedly spoke about the GRU, which is Russia's foreign military intelligence agency. Also, it feels important to point out that other members of Sergei's family have also died in recent years. His brother and son, both within the last 2 years. Some of Sergei's family members believe the circumstances around their deaths are suspicious as well. Also, if it's true that Russia was involved in this attack, it wouldn't be the first time just randomly a foe of Vladimir Putin had been poisoned in Britain. In 2006, you had Alexander Litvinenko, former KGB officer who was critical of Putin, died of poisoning after drinking tea laced with radioactive polonium-210. You know, something that's just lying around. In 2012, you had Alexander Perpelichny, Russian whistleblower who handed over documents to the Swiss government concerning fraud on Russian officials. He died of a heart attack on a run, and at first authorities thought, oh, okay, this is normal, but a later test showed that there was a rare plant toxin in his system. Then a year later, you had Russian businessman Boris Berezovsky. He'd been critical of Putin since his election in 2000, was found dead in his home. Authorities said that evidence suggested suicide by hanging, but his family said that wasn't the case, and the situation in general was seen as suspicious because Boris had believed that he'd been the target of earlier murder plots. And as far as what happens next in the UK, it will be very interesting. Obviously, there is an investigation. Politically, we're seeing people speak out. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson saying, I say to governments around the world that no attempt to take innocent life on UK soil will go unsanctioned or unpunished. UK Secretary Amber Rudd saying the use of a nerve agent on UK soil is a brazen and reckless act. This was attempted murder in the most cruel and public way. Also adding the government will act without hesitation as the facts become clearer. And so that is where we are as of right now. Obviously, there is nothing definitive, but it's hard not to eye the Russians considering the situation, who he was, how he and his daughter were attacked. And while Russia is officially saying, of course, no, we didn't do it, at the same time, you have Russia State News saying this.
Но исключительно из педагогических целей. Для всех, кто мечтает о подобной карьере, хотел бы выступить с предостережением. Профессия предателя вообще одна из самых опасных в мире. По статистике, намного более опасная, чем наркокурьер. Очень редко те, кто ее избрали, доживали в спокойствии и умиротворении до почтенных седин. Алкоголизм и наркомания, стресс, тяжелое нервное расстройство, депрессия – неизбежные профессиональные заболевания предателя. И, как следствие, инфаркты, инсульты, дорожно-транспортные происшествия, самоубийства.
Then later giving advice for what he called traitors or those who simply hate their country in their free time, don't choose Britain as a place to live. Something is wrong there. Maybe it's the climate. But in recent years, there have been too many strange incidents with grave outcomes there. I mean, if all of that's not a veiled threat, I don't know what is. Then let's talk about this situation coming out of Nottingham Trent University in the UK. Yesterday, a woman by the name of Rafaro Chisango tweeted out a video of what was going on in the hallway outside of her room at that university. The caption reading, "Yo, I'm fuming. The way people in the same uni halls as me are chanting, 'We hate the blacks' outside my bedroom door. Words cannot describe how sad this makes me feel. In this 2018, people think this is still acceptable."
Fuck the blacks, say fuck the blacks. Say fuck the blacks, say fuck the blacks. Hate the blacks, hate the blacks. Hate the blacks, hate the blacks. Hate the blacks, hate the blacks. Hate blacks. We hate blacks.
Following that up with, okay, this happened Monday night. The video wasn't able to catch what else they were saying, which was blacks would go back to picking cotton. I'm the only black person on the floor, and they were chanting this outside my door, so don't be surprised to why I didn't leave my room. Adding, I told the reception, and they said that this will be dealt with Tuesday morning. They took my details and said they would inform me. It's Wednesday night, and they haven't. I have a written statement and sent it to the uni, and so have my parents and some friends. And then this disgusting footage goes viral. Many people outraged at the university's response, many asking how they could help. North London MP David Lammy tweeting, "Please contact the police and your member of parliament and CC me in. All my love and solidarity." The Nottinghamshire Police Twitter saying, "Good evening. If you've not already done so, please can you give us a call on 101 to report this? Our team will be able to take the details of this incident and see what can be done." This news then gets in front of Student Union President Martha Longden, who tweets, "Hi, I've only just become aware of this. However, the behavior you have described is unacceptable. Please could you DM me so we can start to resolve this? In the meantime, if you have any immediate concerns for your safety and well-being, I would advise contacting Notts Police." Soon after, the university says they're investigating the matter. They're taking it extremely seriously, adding they won't tolerate behavior like this, but of course, many people are saying, well, why are you responding so late? But then the big update to this story is that Nottinghamshire Police said they have arrested 2 18-year-old men in connection with this video, and they are currently in police custody. Additionally, the university said those suspected perpetrators have been suspended immediately pending a full investigation, adding that they contact the student that made the complaint, they're providing support for her, and in a statement on their website saying that they will formally request a meeting with senior members of staff at the university to find out what action it intends to take to ensure that the housing provider UPP are aware of the anger that their management failures have generated. documentary. And following all of this, Rufaro thanked people on Twitter for their support, saying, "I just want to thank everyone for their kind messages and all the support," then quoting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." And where I kind of land on this is I'm obviously happy it appears that at least in some way the people that were responsible for this disgusting harassment outside of someone's door, that they're going to be held responsible. But I'm also disappointed and very cynical about the situation, because how many times does something like this happen that it doesn't go viral, that it doesn't get national and then international attention, and then there's a lot of pressure for the people that should have been doing the right thing to do the right thing. We get this little snapshot, and thanks to the police, a seemingly nice little bow, happy ending, but do we really? I mean, in general, I mean, whenever you hear someone saying this disgusting, hateful shit, it always has this air of confidence behind it. I don't know, but that's where this story ends for now, and I want to, of course, pass the question off to you. What is your takeaway from this? If this story didn't blow up, do you think something would have happened? What would you like to see happen? Let me know what your thoughts are in those comments down below. And that's where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you like this video, you like what I'm trying to do on this channel, you want to see more, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Also, while you're at it, click that little bell so you get notifications when YouTube actually lets that feature work. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.